at your side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother. I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster? Gangster? Gangster?
Black power my ass, y'all just playing the ass posing, frontin', no bustin', no dirty cock gun button. At least more's right, rich, trying to do something. Pen as my weapon, feathers up and turbans, no bluffing. Don't get it twisted, so or more get handcuffing. Judges dismiss cases, prosecutors cussing, telling my guys recuse themselves or get sued. Civil rights leaders are conscious blacks marching on news, stopping traffic of people that didn't kill their sons and daughters. In Canaan land we call y'all bright and out of order. Nationality has me awake like a sleep disorder, while most wear blinders, my peripherals broader. For the record, I'd sweat in nervous court recorders in Admiralty maritime shores. Moors walk on water. Islam. Start up with prayer. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through His holy prophet. Noble Drew Ali. Islam.
Rome fell.
Rome fell. Rome fell.
Put that up there.
Welcome once again. We're back. Canaan Land Moors class. We have to just put some things on the record. End of the month, August 29th, we're going to be having our first annual Canaan Land Moors barbecue, where we won't be pick-a-niggering. We'll be doing our little barbecue. 29th of August. It's going to be at Leslie and Eglinton Park Conservation Area, or whatever they want to call it. That's probably going to be starting at about 12 o'clock or something like that. As well, September 19th and 20th, 2015, at the Japanese Canadian Cultural Center, 6 Garamond Court, is the 10th annual Toronto Natural Hair and Beauty Show. So we're going to be there vending as well. I'm going to be doing a workshop at the hair show entitled, "Why Does Police Carding Only Seem to Affect Black People?" So we'll see how many people come up to that to find out, why they're the ones that are always racially profiled against, etc. by the people who are supposed to be protecting them, namely, highwaymen, police, whatever. So that's what's going on. Another thing, we wanted to send a shout out to all the Moors that came out to Cincinnati for the lecture. We appreciate that. Want to send a shout out to all the Moors that assisted in making that happen. We also want to send a shout to the Moors in Milwaukee, held it down when we went out there. Thank the Moors for their hospitality while we were doing our great missionary work throughout the North Gate. If anybody is looking for lectures, classes, or whatever, you can email Canaan Land Moors at canaanlandguide@gmail.com. canaanlandguide@gmail.com. You got anything to... Any announcements or anything?
No.
All right.
I'm good.
So we'll start off with our reading. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is the instruction from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and His judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to His divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali. And that's why many hearts have turned to stone, and many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but you will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your profit. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest. The ones that speak against Islam, the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples, act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace. To be proclaimed in every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Islam. So today I was on YouTube just doing the searching, you know, see what's out there. And I came up on a lecture with Minister Farrakhan about the official announcement for the Justice or Else campaign, because apparently the Million Man March worked so good 20 years ago that they're doing the 20-year anniversary march for the Million Man March, and that's going to be at 10:15. It's how they promote it, announce it, whatever. Now, what I want to do is go through some points that were made in that introductory to this campaign that they're going to be going on. And we want to also put things in perspective so people can know what it is that they're getting themselves into when you have these black marching, picketing, begging leaders who play this game with their people that, you know, they're for them. Right? Their duty is to assist the people, help the people get out of whatever it is that the people are in. Now, we'll start with King Alfred Clan and putting on the record once again the position of the individuals that are playing this marching, picketing thing, and where it is that they stand from the colonizer, you know, European, foreigner, corporate government perspective. There are 12 major minority organizations, and all are familiar to the 22 million. Dossiers have been compiled on the leaders of the organizations and can be studied in Washington. Right, so they're letting people know that the so-called black leaders are familiar to the 22 million people classified as Negro, black, colored people in North America, and that they can be studied in Washington, which means that it's public record of the activity of these individuals since they started getting into the activity of African liberation or whatever. The material contained in many of the dossiers and our threat to reveal that material has considerably held in check the activities of some of the leaders. Leaders who do not have such usable material in their dossiers have been approached to take government posts, mostly as ambassadors and primarily in African countries. The promise of these positions also has materially contributed to a temporary slowdown of minority activities. So we're now in 2015 talking about Million Man March again, which they already did in 95, right? And in them doing that, when we look at the timeline between the first Million Man March and right now, we know that there's been no progress. People still killing people, you know what I mean? Brothers still killing brothers, sisters still mad at sisters, you know, elders are still mad at the young still, you know, robbing the elders, you know, the quote-unquote Willie Lynch, you know, atmosphere is still alive and well in its highest capacity, right?
Like the question I'm going to ask now, well, if 20 years ago it was 1 million man, well, should it be 2 million man now?
3 million?
3 million?
4 million? Right.
Right. So then therefore there really wasn't any progress, because if it's still 1 million 20 years later, nothing's changed.
Right. Right.
So maybe that's the question. Nothing's changed, so let's just do another 1 million man march.
Yeah, since nothing's changed.
Since nothing's changed.
Right. However, we do not expect these slowdowns to be of long duration, because there are always new and dissident elements joining these organizations with the potential power to replace the old leaders. All organizations and their leaders are under constant 24-hour surveillance.
Constant.
Always new and dissident elements joining these organizations. The new and dissident elements of this time are the new and dissident elements are the gangs.
Wow.
Right? The new and dissident elements are the gangs. The new people that they're going after under the guise of assisting or whatever like that, black liberation, whatever, is the gangs, right? Now, when we look at the gangs, right, we have community revolution in progress. Okay? And then all these guys do their whole thing of, you know, they stand on their square. Right? As part of what they do. Right? You have brotherly love overrides oppressive destruction. And these guys have their little thing where, you know, they stand on the square and it's something that they do. Right? You have these individuals now coming together, taking the sides of, well, we're family, so we're not gonna be going against each other, right? This is in their own jurisdiction. This doesn't have anything to do with conscious community. This doesn't have anything to do with, you know, what black people want, what they're marching for, picketing for, whatever. These individuals take it on themselves, or took it on themselves, to say, we're gonna unify, right? Now, in them unifying, they're making statements that they're going back to what the gangs and so forth were founded at. What was the purpose of there being gangs and all that stuff? It really was to protect the community, right? From any type of outside influence that is attempting to destroy the fabric of the community. Got out of hand, you know what I mean? And you know, it became something that it shouldn't have been, right? On it becoming something that it shouldn't have been, Islam. Under it, out of it coming out of something that it shouldn't have been, the individuals who were involved, that were of free spirits, that were of different mindset than the people who were before them, they were like, yo, this is dumb. You know what I mean? We need to change this thing that's going on, right? Now we're bringing them up because we want people to realize that when we have when we talk about gangs, when we talk about El Rockies, Vice Lords, Bloods, Crips, or whatever, we're talking about people who were groomed in Morris Science, right? We're talking about people who were groomed in Morris Science. It's not a yo, just pop that door. I think somebody's out here. I saw somebody looking in the window.
What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. It's not a thing of their gangs. Their mentality is principles. Their mentality is recognizing that the structure that they've been following is tainted. It's not doing what it's supposed to really be doing. So in them saying that they're going to unify, that should be a sign to everybody else classified as Negro, black, colored people, that there has to be something that we can use to bring ourselves together, right? Brother Supernova Sloan said that if you see him in red and blue, that's black power, right? If you see him wearing the colors of the gang, that's not because he's part of a gang. That's because he's standing up for, you know, quote unquote, the black nation or whatever, right? They say that they're gonna have their little march thing 10-10-15, right? Now, we read King Alfred Plan to show you that the so-called leaders that claim to be black in the jurisdiction of black, these people are directly working with the side of, they're directly working with the side of U.S. democracy, right? Is there another marker on here? Any more in the back?
Okay.
Right? They're directly working with the U.S. Corporation, right? They've been working with the U.S. Corporation. So to continue to push this idea that you know, they're for their people and, you know, million-man marches and all that stuff is a complete fraud, and people have to be brought up to speed that, you know, the people who that we call or we say that are leaders or whatever, they straight sold out. There's not even nothing to discuss, not even anything to debate about. These individuals sold out the people. Okay? Now they're pushing this idea, Million Man March, right? That we know zero has no value if we do the numerology of this, right? So 1, 15. Right? We know that 11 is a vortex. So we have to ask ourselves, what is it that they're bringing in? What is it that they're bringing in that 20 years ago, they had a march already. And that they're going to come do the march again when the conditions of the people have not changed since the initial march. The conditions of the people have gotten worse. You got Chicago, right? Murder capital. The same individual that's pushing the march is in this murder capital, and nothing's happening there with regard to murders going down based on their influence, right? So obviously it's not jiving. Okay? We know that 6 is the number of the recessive, right? We know that 6 is the mark of the beast system. So we have to recognize that once individuals are pushing an agenda that's classified as black, once an individual is pushing an agenda that's classified as black, their position is to keep this European in power a little bit more longer in their own land, and then not tell the people that this is their own land, that these colonizers that have been violating them, why they're even talking about justice or else, right? These people that are pushing justice or else aren't looking for there to be any justice. They're not going there. This is just a catchphrase to get people's attention to think that they're about something, right? So we're gonna outline some points that were made in the speech, 3 hours or whatever like that, and just to put it on the record for people who might not be of sound mind to get themselves soundly minded immediately, because there is gonna be problems. People are gonna be having issues, right? When this thing really starts kicking off. It ain't kicked off yet, but we have like for example out here, they made an announcement that they're closing all the Target stores. We just got word from inside TD Bank that they're letting go some thousands of people or something like that. So this thing's about to keel over, right? This thing is about to be done with, right? And we have to be in the position that when whatever out there falls, that we have things in place so that we can continue existing, right? And guaranteed, there's not, this is not, 1999, 2000, world's gonna end, and stock up on stuff, and then nothing happened. Like this is the stuff that's really coming down now, right? Nature is telling me. You know what I mean? When I went to Cincinnati one of the things that stood out to me was in the nighttime, you hear crickets. Like lots. I was like, wow, I heard crickets, and I was thinking back and I'm like, damn, I haven't heard crickets in years or whatever in Toronto.
Yeah.
Years. Like crickets, like you sound like you're in the islands or whatever. Crickets. You know what I mean? They got lizards running around in Cincinnati. Yeah, like lizards. Lizards that you see in the islands or whatever. You know what I mean? You might see a frog or something like that. Right? You know, more than you're seeing more birds than just seagulls and pigeons. Right? So the frequency here has been dumbed down to the point where even animals left. Right? So we're here, and we're gonna be the ones that have to deal with this mess when stuff kicks off. Right? And again, this is not something of, you know, stuff's gonna kick off and get people panicking or whatever like that. You know what I mean? It's already been off the hinges. It's just that they put up the front so well that it's not in the mind of the people. Right? The people aren't really recognizing what it is going on when they say, you know, these people are cutting jobs. They think in some, you know, society or whatever. You know what I mean? When they say, oh yeah, you know, we're gonna raise minimum wage to $15. You know what I mean? And people have this mentality, oh yeah, stuff's getting better or whatever, when that's not really what's going on. They're pacifying the people to try to get them to, you know, they're boiling the people, starting with the cold water. So by the time it gets to hot water, they're dead in the water and they don't even know that they boiled to death. Right? You know, they're not throwing the people in the frying pan. They're gonna put them in cold water and bring the water to a boil with them in it. And these things, marching, picketing, and all these things are things leading up to more BS for the people who don't have certain degree of knowledge to deal with, right? So one of the statements that he made is that we will not betray our ancestors, right? Now, mind you, this is coming from Minister Farrakhan, right? Who we know is Nation of Islam. Nation of Islam, what we know is the Moorish Science Temple of America. Continuing the classification of the people as black people. When, if you don't know, Farrakhan has a nationality. This is not speculation. This is not assumption. Minister Louis Farrakhan, leader of the Nation of Islam, has a nationality. He might not talk about it, but people in the MSTA, number 13, that nationalized him, they use him being a national to get people to join their temple. They use it from the perspective of, see, well, you know, Farrakhan's or whatever, even though he's not talking about it, but, you know, this is why, you know, part of the contract that he has with Temple number 13 that put him onto the information and brought him out of the dead status into the marvelous light. Part of the contract is that he has to mention, you know, Noble Drew Ali. He has to mention Moors. He has to speak from the perspective that, you know, this is something that everybody can be part of and everybody belong to or whatever like that, but not putting it in the sense that the people are going to go run to this. Because then, if they run to this, then NOI is not going to, and his obligation is the Nation of Islam, right? So when you hear him speak about things dealing from a national perspective, when you hear him talk about, the history of the American government and, they're connected to Muslims and stuff like that, and then he's using that as a platform to teach NOI, it's really this is what he's dealing with. He's really dealing with the Moorish Science Temple level or degree of information. But again, if he talks from this perspective, Moorish Science Temple of America, Noble Drew Ali, and stops talking about Fard Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad and all that stuff, then this is going to go out of existence tomorrow. Because the reality of the situation is that the only salvation that the people have is proclaiming their Moorish nationality. Now keep in mind as well that the temple number 13, they don't push nationality, they push naturalize. And when we were in Cincinnati, we bumped into a brother in Cincinnati that was down with temple number 13. And what he's saying is that temple number 13 right now is in a reconstruction. And they're in a reconstruction because certain peoples in temple number 13 are realizing that naturalize is a fraud. So they broke off of this, and now they're starting their own MSTA, whatever, that's going to be dealing with nationalize. But tied to nationalize, they got the whole sovereignty, the sovereignty movement, which them doing that puts them right back in the jurisdiction of naturalize again. And this is based on the individual who was down with this that is now on this side, and then we're trying to explain to them that don't get caught up with this and this and put that in the same jurisdiction, because as soon as you start talking about sovereignty and all that stuff and nationalize, you just disqualify Moorish Science Temple of America, and you make your nationality become corporate, which defeats the purpose of even claiming that you're a national. How you doing? Right? So when he's making the statement that we will not betray our ancestors, he's saying that we will not betray our ancestors, but again, he's speaking for himself. Because he has a nationality, so he knows that he's not betraying his ancestors regardless of what comes out of his mouth. Intuitively, he knows that he's more. It's not even anything up for discussion. But if the people who are in the congregation, crowd, or whatever like that, don't have the knowledge of nationality, they're not going to be asking the pertinent questions. They're going to be, just on their clapping and applauding, and oh yeah, they hear something sounds good, yeah, and they clap, when this is, it's beyond clapping right now. It's people need to get themselves in tune with their nationality and their birthrights immediately, because there is no salvation in classifying yourself as something that you're not. There's no salvation for French, British, German, Scottish, English, Dutch to call themselves white people. There's no benefit in that. There's no such thing as white privilege or whatever like that, right? The white privilege is Moorish nationality. The white privilege is majority of the people who are pointed at as saying, oh yeah, they have white privilege or whatever, are Skull and Bones friends, Mason friends, Rosicrucian friends, Rothschild friends, or whatever like that. So, you know, they're taught the sciences that the Moors brought. And that's how they get white privilege. They don't have white privilege because they look how they look. They have white privilege because their degree of knowledge is in the realm of esoteric teachings. So they know about light energy, crystal energy, moon energy, sun energy, how to manipulate the ethers and things like that. They know how to swindle people psychologically. They know how to do these things. It's something common to them. When we have these leaders that have the right knowledge and they're not speaking on what they should be speaking about, they're against what is for the people. Right? It's not assumption or opinion. As soon as you hear somebody say that they're a leader of something, a leader of people, a leader of an organization, and the people that they're saying that they're out to get, they're not classifying them or identifying them by their national pedigree name. The individual that is the leader, his job is to keep those people as sheep and keep him as the shepherd in control of these sheep forever. Again, Million Man March, 20 years ago, did nothing for people. And they're going to be out there marching again. Classifying yourself as Negro, black, colored, African, or whatever has done nothing for people. But they're going to still call themselves these things. And we know that, you know, there's information available through multiple sources that Farrakhan had something to do with El-Hajj's death. Right? It's a common theme. It's known knowledge that so-called Malcolm X died because Farrakhan had something to do with it. And then all these people are going to say they honor Malcolm, El-Hajj, or whatever like that, but then they're going to go march with this guy who said that they killed him. No different than, you know, people are saying that they're down with Moorish movement, but the people who they say are their grand sheik or whatever are people who are in the FBI papers that killed Mahmoud Ali. I'm going to talk about honor and respecting ancestors and all that, not even addressing the fact that them talking like that is selling their people out. Because, again, in the same King Alfred plan, where all these black leaders and all these organizations that are sellout organizations that have been infiltrated since the 1950s and before, all these organizations know that the so-called black man in America didn't come over here on a slave ship, that he's bound to this side. There's no need to go back over there because over here is where we're at. And they keep perpetuating this fraud of, you know, again, Million Man March. Right? Esoterically, a man is a Moorish American national. That's a man, which includes women. So if they're having a 1 million man march and nobody in there is national, everybody's Negro black colored, that's not a 1 million man march. It's a 1 million slave march. And then it's not that because slave is Slavic. So these people are just pep rallying. They're not doing anything about liberation of anybody. Right? He made a statement that there's nothing wrong with being afraid. You know, because we have to stand up to this white man because he did all this stuff, you know, so it's time for us to stand up to the white man. And then the example that he used is Moses versus the Pharaoh. Right? And that Moses told God, well, yo, let Aaron come with me as a backup. And God's telling Moses, well, you know, if you speak what I tell you to speak, you don't need to know about backup or nothing like that. Because I'm the one that's really using you as the avenue, the vessel, right? Now all this talk and not tell the people that Moses is Thutmoses, who is a Pharaoh. Which means that this story right here about some Israelite, whatever guy, meeting up with this Pharaoh and then the serpent and then the serpent's on the ground and the staff turned to a serpent, all that stuff like that, is a fraud. They don't go like that. No such thing as Moses, because Moses is Thutmoses, who's a Pharaoh. There's documented fact that that Moses is Thutmoses. And there was nobody called Moses. And burning bushes and all that stuff is a fraud. But remember, the speech that he's doing is in a church. So because the speech is in a church, you know, you gotta talk the language to make sure that the people, you know, do their get up and clap. Right? So as soon as you know we hear certain things without even going far, we realize that something's up. You know what I mean? Like something's up. Like, you know, how is like for example, they're gonna do their whatever in a church, right? This is common knowledge to people who are coming out of Christianity into other forms of, you know, religion, schools of thought or whatever, right? Chapter 46. The beginning of Christianity. This is the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple. The foundation of Christianity began in Rome. The Roman nations founded the first church, of whom crucified Isa of Nazareth for seeking to redeem his people from under the Roman yoke and law. Isa himself was the true blood of the ancient Canaanites and Moabites and the inhabitants of Africa, seeking to redeem his people in those days from the pressure of the pale-skinned nations of Europe. Rome crucified him according to their law. Then Europe had peace for a long time until Muhammad I came upon the scene and fulfilled the works of Isa of Nazareth. The holy teachings of Isa was to the common people to redeem them from under the great pressure of the hands of the unjust, that the rulers and the rich would not oppress the poor, also that the lion and the lamb may lay down together and neither would be harmed when morning came. These teachings were not accepted by the rulers, neither by the rich, because they loved the principles of the Ten Commandments. Through the Ten Commandments, the rulers and the rich live, while the poor suffer and die. The lamb is the poor people, the lion is the rulers and the rich. And through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, all men are one and equal to seek their own destiny. and to worship under their own vine and fig tree, after the principles of the holy and divine laws of their forefathers. All nations of the earth in these modern days are seeking peace, but there is but one true and divine way that peace may be obtained in these days, and it is through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, being taught universally to all nations in all lands. So the first thing that they should be teaching, if they're talking about Christianity or whatever, is love. As soon as they start talking about justice or else, from a church podium, they become immediately insurgents. Immediately they become insurgents. And if you're an insurgent, you are not, big quotes, you are not a revolutionary. You are an insurgent. And now when we look at them seeking justice as insurgency, not revolution, we can see now why so-called police have the authority to do what they do to these people, because really they're insurgents, they're not being revolutionary, right? Anybody who stands up for Constitution, anybody who stands up for rights, anybody who stands up for corrupt government, but they don't have a status, they're insurgent. So before they send these people out to go march and whatever like that, remember this is from the church podium. Now, keep in mind that Noble Drew Ali taught that any more that goes into a church is no longer a church, it becomes a temple. Right? Farrakhan has a nationality, which means that he's a Moor. So when he went into that church became a temple. This is why he's able to talk how he was talking from the church stuff, but not really dealing with Christianity. He was talking NOI stuff. Even though he's using Bible as a reference and things like that, the reality of what is going down is they're on their little recruitment drive or whatever, under the guise of unity. Because if you say unity to the world, that's nationality. To Negro, black, colored people, that's black guys come over, then the Negro guys come on down, then the conscious black guys, they're gonna come down, and then the conscious Negro guys, they're gonna come, and then the church people are gonna come, the Islam people are gonna come, they got dark skin, and then all these dark skinned people with all these different tags that they call themselves is unity. To Negro, black, colored people, that's not unity. That's insurgency. That's Social Security Administration about to load up all those million rounds of hollow point bullets that they bought. That nobody knows why are they buying hollow point bullets? Why are they doing this? Why is Social Security Administration buying hollow point bullets? Why is it that you go to gun stores and you can't get ammo right now? That there's no ammo. They got guns for days, but ammo you can't get. And if you do get ammo, you have to go to NRA established ammo dealers to get ammo. So as as we go, you're going to realize that these people are being completely played by their own. And this is also, as far as for our Sunday classes, this is also going to be one of the last classes in this type of format, so that we can actually focus on where we have to go. Because I'm at the position, you know, some of the other Moors also are in the position where, you know, we're not going to cause a dent in what's out there. You know what I mean? Like, we have to fend for ourselves. We have to realize that certain people are collateral damage. You know what I mean? Certain people, they're just going to get what they get. It's nothing personal, but sorry. Like, there's no, you know, going to black stuff to go give flyers to black people and, you know, hope that they come. If they want this, they'll come. Doors open. If they are seeking, then their vibration will gravitate them to this information. But there's no, you know, we have to go get people. If we're going to a black thing, it's in order to go get those black people's fiat, because they got it. You know what I mean? And they're gonna, you know, do the support, you know, and whatever like that. All right, come, you know, fiat, here's some DVDs, books, or whatever like that. You know, go be niggers, because, you know, that's what it is, right? It's unfortunate, but when we have juggernauts like Farrakhan, who's a Moor, and he's not going to teach people that they're Moors. When we have so-called conscious community people doing lectures, debates, and stuff like that, and they're filming that, yeah, we got a lecture going on, and they got a lineup going around the building and stuff like that to teach people that they're black people, like, it ain't, it's going on. There's going to be collateral damage. It already is. You know, Eric Garner, Emmett Till, Dred Scott, all those people, all that's collateral damage people.
Perhaps only a handful, right?
Only a handful is going to be saved. So either you're going to be in the palm, or you're running through the fingers. And if you're running through the fingers, guarantee there ain't nothing that we can do for people who aren't going to make it. They're just not going to make it. There's nothing even to discuss, right? Anybody have questions, comments? Made a statement that Elijah Muhammad taught him that because you have a good education, you should take the words that I say, put them into that correct, you know, English, whatever that you were taught, and teach the people, right? He made a statement that he knows about parts of speech. Just throw it in there, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, I know about verbs, adverbs, and whatever like that. You just throw it out there, then continue on with the sermon. Now, if he knows about parts of speech, then he knows what an adjective is. If he knows what an adjective is, then he knows that black is such. And if he knows that black's an adjective, he also knows about nouns and proper nouns. And that there's no way that this could be the identity of people. There's absolutely no way that you can have knowledge of parts of speech and still call people black and you're in leadership position. And again, if it is going down like that, it's just letting you know how deep the sellout is.
Right. So when was this speech that
This was some weeks ago or something.
Is this when he asked for 10,000 strong?
This was let me see, where let me see though. It was, matter of fact, let's go check. Let's go check it fast.
He was talking about more 10,000 strong gangsters to go.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're making the call. They've been doing a call out that the more people, then we can influence them to be right or whatever.
Oh, this was in regards to the new march that they're planning to have?
Yeah.
So it was him coming out as one of these groups that you're talking about, trying to get everyone together.
Trying to get everybody together.
On the black consciousness.
On the black consciousness. Unity among black people. Right? Unity on the black people under the guise of, let's do the Million Man March thing and show the unity of black people. Okay? It was,
You know what I think's going on with some of that, though? I think what he's doing is he's giving...
This was one week ago.
I think what's going on there is I think that he's... You know how they were talking about how President Obama, they would be making some of those speeches and they were giving Masonic sort of codes, right?
Right.
That's what I think's going on there.
Yeah.
Right? He's telling the other ones who are on that higher level
that, don't worry, we got them under control.
That he's part of...
Got these people pacified or whatever.
Right.
We got these people unlocked. You know what I mean? They're going to listen to their minister Farrakhan because he met with the hip-hop guys and he met with these guys and he met with all these guys and everybody honors him, respects him or whatever like that when he has nationality.
He's still doing that while still trying to raise some money.
He's trying to get, because they got to make their little, their little fiat or whatever, right? So if he has this information, parts of speech, then he's calling these people black, knowing that they're not that. Based on his degree of knowledge and him having, parts of, good European education, all that stuff like that, good English, and he knows how to speak English properly so he can relay the message, and he's not relaying the message that these people aren't black people. You're gonna call them black people continuously, like a repetitive thing, right? He was talking about being mentored by Brother El-Haj Malik El-Shabazz, Brother Malcolm X, and was talking about Dr. King meeting with Elijah Muhammad in 1966, and that King was the master preacher meeting Elijah Muhammad, the master teacher. And that the master preacher was assassinated because he was evolving based on the teachings that he got from Elijah Muhammad. I can remember, the master teacher the master preacher was a minister. Right? So, if the pastor learned from Elijah Muhammad, then all these people who are down with Christianity, church, and all that type of stuff, they should take some lessons from the master teacher Elijah Muhammad too. And then it all ties into, maybe that's why this big church let Farrakhan, who's Nation of Islam or whatever, teach from the pulpit of the church. So, and again, it goes back to the psychological games that these people play with our people under this fraud sense of unity. That is not going to happen. There's no way. Find any nation. Just name a nation, right? And let's go amongst them and find out how many of them identify themselves as adjectives. Right? How many of them identify themselves as things that they're not, and then saying that, in order for us to be unified, forget what the nation is, whatever we call ourselves, let's just come together as that and get somewhere. It doesn't happen like that. It doesn't work like that. It would never work like that. But they keep presenting this distorted perspective of unity under the guise of just numbers, when that's not unity. The master preacher was a 33rd degree Mason. So if the master preacher is a Mason, what's master teacher putting him on? What knowledge is Elijah Muhammad putting Martin Luther King on, right? If Martin Luther King is a Mason and has certain degrees based in moral science, which in America, moral science is tied to the Constitution, because the Constitution is based on Islamic or Islamitic laws. So we have the student of the master teacher making a claim that the master preacher was taught by the master teacher, and because the master preacher was taught by the master teacher, they assassinated him. When that's straight a lie on the pulpit. The reality of the situation is that the master preacher realized that the only way that anybody's going to have rights is if they enforce the Constitution. Because the Constitution is what holds corruption in check. The Constitution is what allows the people to recognize that there's fraud happening in government and do something about it. Constitution does that. So for him to make the statement that it's because of the connection that Martin Luther King had to Elijah Muhammad why they killed him, when we know that they killed him because of the mountaintop speech, we know that they killed him because he was about to start to reveal the fact that he messed up. He already made statements that, you know, I've led my people into a burning building. This is Martin Luther before they assassinated him. This was the mentality that he had, that I'm in error. After studying, you know, sitting down with Malcolm and stuff like that and studying certain things, I realized that I was in error. I made mistakes in you know, where I was going with trying to liberate my people. And before he can repent, they took him out. Because if he repents, he's going to lay down all the stuff about what, you know, he did wrong or whatever, and then where they should be going. Right? Right? And he even went on to say that just like Malcolm, Martin was evolving, so he got assassinated. Now when we look at the other part of it, El-Hajj now evolving. He was evolving because when he went to Mecca, the European told him, you didn't come to Mecca and this is your home. Like, you left home to come to Mecca. Which made him realize that, oh, so if I don't have to go back to Africa to be home, and then I'm in the land of my ancient foremothers and forefathers, then my real argument is with the individuals who are claiming to have authority or jurisdiction over me, to do whatever they want. Which is why he was about to go to the UN against the U.S. And they took him out before he did that. But why is it that he's going to do that? Because Malik El-Shabazz, Shabazz is a Washita title of nobility. Shabazz in Washita means Heru. So if he had a title of the Washita and he was going to the UN to complain to the UN about the U.S., not America, about the U.S., then he had some type of degree of law, civics, status, jurisdiction, and all that. He had that as part of his knowledge base in his evolution from calling people black. Go back and check. After he came back from Mecca, he stopped calling people black. After he came back from Mecca, he stopped calling people white people. After he came back from Mecca, he started talking about constitution and human rights. And stopped talking about civil rights. But get him out the way, and then put Farrakhan up there. Now you're back to square one.
This is just a copy of what Jesse Jackson.
Which is the exact same thing, right? Which is the exact same thing. You take out the leader that is about to make progress, and then you put your puppet there. And once the puppet's in, the puppet's going to be there forever.
Because there's no one.
Because there's no one. Well, they're not going to take out the puppet. Why are they going to take out the puppet? The puppet's doing their job, right? And that's what they've done. You know, same thing. You know, Khalid, they killed Khalid. After they kill it out the way, they put Malik Zulu Shabazz there, puppet, who is as a bar card, works for the courts. Took out Garvey, put a puppet there. Took out Martin, put a puppet there. Take out Noble Drew Ali, put a puppet there. And then have the puppet run stuff. Take out whoever, you name them. The one that is going to actually inspire and empower true progress is going to get taken out. And once they have their puppet in, then it's up to the puppet. Now, in contrast, when we look at Castro was supposed to be a puppet, right? Take out Batista and put their puppet Castro. Mm-hmm. And their puppet Castro said, ha, you guys, I'm not that one. Mm-hmm. And then they had a hell of a time getting rid of him after that.
Well, they've been trying ever since.
and
still living.
Right? So, right now, all the so-called conscious groups, etc., are being run by puppets that were put there. All of them. Mm-hmm. But as soon as they start talking about they're black, they're puppet. That's just what it is. It's not anything to, that's just what it is. King Alfred Plan is in full effect. It's been in full effect. Unfortunately, we're just getting onto the wisdom of there's such a thing called King Alfred Plan, and they've been planning to get rid of Negro, black, other people. On a level that it doesn't appear like genocide. It just looks like, that officer did something wrong, or the shootings, and that guy he had mental problems or whatever, when it's population control. I was
just saying to myself that I think if that was the plan, they could have enacted it a long time ago. I think ultimately the goal is to keep us in the state that we're in.
Right.
That's the ultimate goal, because then the karma's on us.
Right. And then they can't get rid of Asiatics, like.
Well, they can't, because we're supposedly the workforce for this whole thing, right?
They can't get rid of Asiatics like that.
So I truly think that it's really still about them they're doing their stuff on the periphery, but they're still just trying to keep us in that dead state, right?
Right.
And that's done by distraction of death. Right? You're always worried about the next man who's dead rather than the real problem, right? You're always dealing with the symptom, not the cause.
Right. And once we continue to address symptoms, and never deal with what is causing the illness, then we're going to be sick forever. Because you can't address symptoms and have good health.
I was at my healers earlier today, and we were talking about sicknesses in general. And he's saying the fact that they keep the consciousness of hospitals and all these things out there, that's what keeps your mindset. That's why when you turn on the news, you're always seeing about death and violence and war. That's where your conscious level always is. So you're never stepping up to the next level, right? So that's some of that sort of esoteric science that they've been utilizing on us.
Exactly. If the kingdom of God is to come on earth, that means the rulers, etc., are not fit to bring God's kingdom on earth. Right? If the kingdom of God is to come on earth, right? So now, he goes into his Masonic degrees or whatever, and he's talking to people from an esoteric perspective without addressing that he's talking from an esoteric perspective. So the kingdom of God is to come on earth, which is universal law, polarity, right? That you have two opposite poles that are existing in the same time, same space. And the kingdom of God, which is in heaven, is to come on earth, which is, right? There's the earth plane, there's the etheric plane, right? The higher and the lower. The higher and the lower coming together as one, which again is unity. The higher, whether you're talking about realms, whether you're talking about bodies, consciousness, right, is always identified as, if you will, up. And the lower vibrations are always classified as down. Right? Now, when we put this in because remember that being that Farrakhan is a Moor, he has a certain degree of information already that he's not gonna tell the people that he has this degree of information, because if it comes out of his mouth that the authority really doesn't reside with him, the authority really resides with Noble Drew Ali and those lessons, and them taking that concept and creating the Nation of Islam, then all the stuff that he says immediately means nothing. And people are going to start questioning Noble Drew Ali, Morris Science Temple, Morris status, Moroccan flag, etc. Things are going to start picking up on that level, which is what, again, they don't want, because the whole idea is to keep the people pacified, to keep the people dumbed down. And if you keep the people dumbed down based on them not having the right information, then it's not on the person that's teaching. It's on the student that doesn't study. Because he's, as we see the consciousness of the people raising, you're going to notice that the people who are not for the raising consciousness of the people, their activity is going to be stepping up. They're going to start doing more and more things to keep the people dumbed down, while the people are trying to get out of their dumbed down state. Okay, so you have, like we look at people making statements like the white man's the devil. People making statements like the government is corrupt and we need to change this, we need to change that, or whatever like that. But then they're going to have a march and meet in the same place where it's a historical fact they sold slaves there. It's a documented fact that in the so-called jurisdiction of Washington, D.C., they used to have slave auctions there. So they're going to this jurisdiction to talk about liberation, but the place where they're talking about liberation, they had slave auctions there. Right? That's that's contradictory. How are you gonna when you look at it from the correct perspective, you realize that, oh yeah, that's what they're doing, selling people into slavery. They're really doing a mass slave auction, letting the colonizer know that as your representative colonizer, we're letting you know these are the amount of people that are still under the jurisdiction of U.S. Corporation, slavery, whatever else that they claim.
Well, the question is as well too, why don't they do it in Philadelphia? In the sense that that's the capital of America, whereas they're doing it in Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States. Of the corporation,
right.
The corporation itself.
Right.
So bringing all the black people together in Washington, D.C., obviously there's a reason for that.
Right.
They're just bringing them back home. Bringing back home the property.
Bring them back to the property.
Bring them back home to the plantation, in a sense.
And that goes in line with Noble Drew Ali's quote that one day all property is going back to the government.
Exactly.
One day all property is going back to the government. And how's the property going to go back to the government? Black leaders are going to take them there.
Be careful.
Because black leaders are going to make sure that the people don't have information about their nationality and their birthrights. And once they don't have information about their nationality and their birthrights, then they're pretty much done. And yes, it is a big ritual that's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a ritual. It is a ritual of enslavement. It is a ritual of denationalization on a mass scale, right? Which, remember that they got little checks or whatever, so they're not gonna face any war crimes or anything like that for denationalizing, but they're gonna make requests that other people, you know what I mean, they're gonna make requests that individuals who are not in the know get down with them, when really to get down with them is really to sell out, because they're not moving towards getting people out of the injustices that they're facing. They're keeping people in the jurisdiction so that the injustices continue to happen, because that's how the beast system is going to live. The beast system is going to live by people being dumbed down. Right? You got a question, bro?
You mentioned that there's rituals going on. I was actually a question. This might be a little bit off topic. Rituals that deal with the weather and deal with the skies and deal with that kind of like rituals and that, for instance.
Rituals in the sense of these people work for forces that might be unseen. These people work on an energy perspective. They don't deal with individuals. Like for example, when we see.
I didn't hear the question. Can you just repeat the question?
Is what perspective are the rituals?
Oh, okay. Go on.
Right. When you see a group of, okay, for example, if you're not in right mind, if you go to a club, that's a ritual, right? Because a club, right? Right? Club, right? You go to the club, and what do you go to the club to do? Hit on women. Right? So the club is ritual to keep women down here.
And then you add on to it, after you hit on them, you pick them up.
Right.
But then you go further down the club.
Right, you beat them down.
You hit them down, then you pick them up, put them over your shoulder, and take them over in those days. Right?
Because that's how, because when you think back to, Flintstones or whatever, right? You club the girl, and then you throw her over the shoulder, and then you go home and whatever, right?
Also, though, I mean, most of the time with all these rituals, there's many layers, right? So a club also is a group of people getting together, doing the same thing, having the same energies. What else do you do at a club? You don't get drunk. You don't come out of your mind.
Right.
Go listen to music that puts you into certain energies.
When you get beats in the head.
Huh?
You get beats in the head, right? From the music.
Right? You end up paying lots of money out for stuff that, so all of those things are ritualized. And if every week that's what you're doing, right? I know enough times when I was growing up, every weekend I'd get a club.
Right.
Spending money, giving away hard-earned money. Now when I look back on it, I think all that money that you gave to these people, same beer you can go buy at a beer store, let's say for $1, you're going to give them $7 for it.
Right.
That becomes a ritualized thing.
Right.
You think you have to go to some place to go, let's say, get a little buzz on or something. Right. So those are all sort of levels of ritual, of what we're talking about.
Right.
All the advertising they do on the thing, or there's this club happening tonight with this singer being there. That becomes ritualized.
Right. Okay.
So that's where the rituals, same thing with even the Million Man March, right? You're ritualized. I need to go be part of this, right? That becomes a ritual. So when the next time they tell you to go somewhere else, right?
Right. So the ritual. So like brother's saying, the rituals are on. There's layers. You know what I mean? So there's low-level rituals. Then there's rituals where you have rituals like individuals, Asiatics get killed and then their organs missing. That's ritual. You know what I mean? Because why are you taking somebody's organs? Like they're doing something with them. They're taking them, so they're doing something. When they say popes rape little boys or whatever, that's a ritual, right? It's not necessarily that they're doing sexual acts with them, but they know that as when you come out the womb, you're more pure. So they'll have you know, little boys sleep with the Pope on some taking the energy, not doing sexual acts, just being close to them to get their energy. And then they use that energy for whatever it is that they're going to do in society. You know what I mean? Sorcery.
Yeah, sorcery. You know? Pretty much all these rituals are for taking energy.
Mainly. It's an energy thing. It's not you know,
energy and power.
Yeah, it's not physical doing something to the physical, and you know, it's not really on that level like that. It's more about the energy. So when we say you know, all these people coming together that don't have any knowledge of self, and if they do have knowledge of self, it's limited because they're still not dealing with real knowledge of self, which is nationality. They're going to be all in this place, all amped up. Their energy's going to be way up here right there, right?
So
and then
big energy harvest.
Just going to be an energy harvest. And then whoever is able to tap into that frequency of Million Man March, people excited, we shall overcome and all this type of stuff, they're glutton with their energy. You know what I mean? They're just, you know, just energy's just in abundance for them to extract, use, you know what I mean? They might even be up in there in some blackface, just taking in all the vibrations that's going on. You know what I mean? They might even be there as Europeans. Like, yeah, well, you know what I mean? And you don't know that guy is the guy at the head, the grand serpent of the lodge or whatever, getting energy, harvesting. You know what I mean?
Brother Taj put it eloquently when he says, like, when you understand, like, the unconscious people, they're looked at as batteries.
Right.
Batteries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they go to that thing like, why, you know what I mean? They make jail cells. You understand certain concepts. You know, like the masses who are unconscious are just batteries. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it goes into the science of them taking energy. You know what I mean? Once they deplete it, they can charge them back up. The Million Man marches to charge up. You know what I mean? So they can withdraw the energy again.
Right. And then that's what Morpheus was getting at when he said they're making the people into this. And he was holding a Duracell. It was a Duracell commercial really for the movie. But the point was that it was batteries. The people are batteries. What up, Mike? The people are batteries. Right? The people are what make this work. So you know, it's just like if we look at it like, you know, toy, machine, whatever. You take the battery out, and no power. So this is what all these people have to do. This is what our perspective is with telling people proclaim their nationality. That once you proclaim your nationality, now you're no longer a battery. Now you're no longer a crab in a bucket. You can't complain about a crab in a bucket. No, you're not a crab. You're more. What are you talking about? Buckets and stuff like that. You know what I mean? We're talking about abuse from police officer when he doesn't have an office. And the fact that you say police officer gives him the power, which is really your power. Because he's not an officer. He went fill out an application like a guy at McDonald's. He wasn't elected to be a policeman. He got hired. So it's not, you know, and again, it's the leader's not talking. Like, nobody's not going to listen to me. I'm nobody. Right? Let Farrakhan say that these people are Moors. See what happens. You know what I mean? Forget about one line in a hip-hop song. Let all these rappers who have these one line, whatever, in the song, have a conference. Call BET and call NBC and call other people and start telling these people that they're Moors. See what happens. See if stuff doesn't change tomorrow when these people realize they're Moors. Let some of these so-called Bloods and Crips people, right? Have some conversations or write some letters to Chief Malik, who's the head of El Ruckins gang. Let him tell them Islam and you know, all these things that you've been taught, you know, standing like this and standing like this and all this and all these stuff right, is more science. Like for real, it's more science. It's not some gang whatever. It's more science that went underground. It's more science that went into the prisons and then got tainted in the prisons. Like Moors with fezzes on and stuff that did dirt and went to prison and then taught this stuff in prison. And then it came out here as gangs. So it's all based on principles. If you go ask a gang member, you talk to a gang member, they'll tell you that they base their stuff on principles. Real gang member. Not some guy faking, pretending to be bloody, has a bandana hanging on him. Like a guy who's really in a gang. They'll tell you that, yeah, certain things we don't do. We're not just gonna go shoot a guy just because, you know, we don't go like that in the gang. That's not real. You know what I mean? The reality is that everything is based in more science. But the people who have that knowledge have to be the ones to tell it. And the majority of the people who have influence, they're not telling it because they work for the establishment. So for example, another thing that he was talking about. America made niggers less than human beings. America made the black man feel like he's worth nothing. America, as soon as they start talking like that,
yeah, that's it.
You know that they are U.S. agents, because they should be saying U.S. because America is a continent, not a government of Europeans that took over something and they're trying to, you know, start a new world order. That doesn't do with America. This is a continent. Well, find me a continent that enslaved somebody. Find me a continent that shut somebody up, choked them on the corner or whatever like that. As soon as they start making reference to America as the government that's abusing you or violating you, know that they work for these people. Because they should be saying these people are the violators. When they say, right? When they say American flag, this is the American flag. That's U.S. corporate banner. That's not, this has nothing to do with America. There's no flag to represent America. Because, you know, if you're going to say flag represents America, it could be a Brazilian flag, it could be a Chilean flag, it could be a Mexican flag, it could be, you know, anywhere in the Americas that has a flag, that is the flag of America. When they say, you know, American president. Ain't no American president named Barack Obama. That's a fiction. The American president could be the president of Chile, the prime minister of wherever. Anywhere in the Americas that has somewhere called a president, that qualifies as the American president. So when we have people who are in positions of power, again, so-called black leaders, and they start talking about America did something, or they say, like, you know, in order to justify their position, right? They're gonna say America, and say, oh, and put 3 Ks there and imply that a continent is the KKK. That's a fraud. That's not reality. But people go with this. They'll get up and clap. 5 minutes they'll clap because, oh, he said something revolutionary. He's talking about he said America government violated you. Is like saying the white man violated you. You're not talking about nobody. You're just talking about figment of your imagination, which nobody has to take serious or even consider what you're saying when you say stuff like that. Right?
Yeah, but once you agree to that, it becomes a contract, right?
Right. Which everybody agrees. You know, the unconscious. All of them would agree. They would go with it.
It creates energy. It creates
Right.
the same energy that we're talking about. And the same ritual.
frequency.
Same ritual.
Same ritual. Get all these people riled up, right? Because now remember, the only way scriptures tell you that God doesn't dwell in man-made temples. So then why are people going there? And when they do go there, the people who establish that, they have to know something. They have to know that this is a housing facility. This is a, just again, another jurisdiction where we can pack this energy in. You know what I mean? Because remember, people are going to be, all the seats are going to be taken. So we'll be standing up or whatever. Then they got their little balcony, and they got people all on the side or whatever like that, and give this appearance of, the place is full. But if we eliminate the people and think of them as energy being there, you have this storehouse of energy, right? Yahshua told them, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. So if ye are gods, and God doesn't dwell in a man-made temple, the only time that God's in there is when people are in there. The only time that God is in church is when people are in there. Because ye are gods. But if ye are gods and you don't know that you're God, because you think God is, something out there that's up, and nobody can tell you how high up heaven is, but it's up, and they're not relating this to themselves, then they become food for the vampires who run these institutions, and they purposely call their stuff a pulpit, so they can pull you in the pit. So they can suck. They can get their energy. Succubus, incubus, vampire, whatever you want to call it. Leech. Right? Vulture, hyena, whatever. Ye are gods. The people are really the gods. But if the people do not know that this is their position, then they become and then that's where they stay.
Which, when you reverse it, is live.
Right.
Really being the opposite of. You're doing the opposite of devil, you're living.
Right, and then
pit bulls.
Right? You got a question, sir? A comment?
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so the wordplay.
Well, the wordplay is the sorcery, right?
The wordplay is part of the sorcery.
I just have an experience, when I was in the church and I experienced that, when I started to wake up and realize there are things in the church, and they know when you're real spiritual, especially when you know when you see right through them. The lady pastor, she'll get really angry, especially if you go at a certain time, if you're a little late or do certain things, she'll get mad. It's like she wanted to keep the harvest of energy in there. I didn't realize it till you broke it down now.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you have hit that up.
All right. In regards to the pastor, from I think the key. I'll get it after. But anyway, there's a passage in the Bible that states, "Thus saith the Lord, my God, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose pastors slay them, and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. And their own shepherds pity them not." So basically what the pastor's there to do is lay you out to pasture. That's where the sheep are, the flocks. So if those flocks don't know where to go, the pastor will corral them where they need to go. So when you look at what a pastor is, you also look where the flock is. And he do say the shepherds corral up their flocks and lay them out to pasture. So in time, that's who the pastor is. He corrals the flocks. So when more people go to the church, that's what the pastor's doing. He's speaking to his flock. It might sound a little bit harsh, but that's what he's doing. He's just speaking to the flock. All right?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
He made a, you know, like, and again too, like, once we're studying the law, once we're studying civics, once we're studying nationality, other nations, certain things aren't gonna pass through the strainer with Morris, right? You're gonna have bottleneck with regard to information, watching certain people's stuff, because you're gonna be able to pinpoint the places where they are trying to mislead people and get them to get behind things that have no merit or no value or no substance. So he says, if we ask a Chinese man, what's your name? And he says, Tim McGillicuddy, you will say, what kind of Chinaman is that? What kind of Chinese man is going to have a name Tim McGillicuddy? You know, logically, right? Then he goes on to say, if a yellow man looked funny with a white man's name, what do you think a black man with the name of a slave master looks like? Right? And everybody's gonna be like, yeah, you know, yeah, for real. That makes sense or whatever. But he classified the man as Chinese that he was talking about. And then to get the Negroes down with it, then he said, yellow man. And then if you ask a yellow man with a white man's name, then the black man with a slave master's name, whatever. Right? He knows that this is a fiction. Or he would have said that up here. But he never classified who this is. And then he never classified who this is as a nation. But he classified a Chinese man, which means that he knows that people are identified based on the landmass that their history is based in. So for him to say China, Chinese, but then down here say yellow man, a white man, a black man, you know that he's running a fraud. Because he should be identifying these people by their male name. Because we know that it's the Dutch that were slave masters. You know that. Well, we know, how come they never say Dutch? They know that it wasn't a European that put our people in slavery, so-called slavery. They know that it's not European. Why? Because Europe is in Asia. There is no such thing as European did something. They're either Dutch or they're French, or they're Scottish, or they're German, or whatever like that. You identify them by their natal bloodline. No such thing as a black man. Again, Farrakhan's a Moor. He knows better. He has a nationality. It's not. He's just saying something because he doesn't know. He knows about nationality. Nationality is why he got back into the country after he went to meet with Gaddafi, who also they killed. So they killed Khalid. They killed Gaddafi. They killed Martin. They killed Malcolm. They didn't kill Farrakhan? How come they're not killing Farrakhan? All the stuff that he's talked about Jews and all that stuff and whatever, and they never touched him. They're not even talking about attempts on his life or whatever. And people are not thinking, oh, well, maybe he works for them if they're not taking him out. Because, you know, Malcolm didn't talk as bad as how Farrakhan talked about the European or whatever. You know? You had something more?
Just to say, you can always tell who the agents are because they're the ones left standing, right?
Right.
And then you can always tell that talk with Farrakhan is just rhetoric to sort of condone or to give people the impression of legitimacy, right?
Right. Right. Again, he went into the flag thing, talking about you know, we need to put down the American flag because it's not only the Confederate flag that violated us. The American flag violated us also, so we need to put down the American flag. Right? And again, comes back to the same thing, that they're going to talk about flag when flag ties to nations. The United States is a corporation, it's not a nation. So they have a banner. UNIA is a corporation, not a country, nation, nothing else. That's why they have RBG banner. Because flags are flown by nations. And America is not a nation. Americas are not nations. The other thing that was interesting, he said, black people are second-class citizens. Go look that up. And then went off and talked about something else. Telling these people that they're stateless, but not telling them how to correct their position. Keep feeding off the statelessness. Just keeping them, you know what I mean? Because he knows that they're not going to go look up nothing. They're not going to go look up no second-class citizen. What are they going to look it up for? You know what I mean? They're taught that's English is the white man's or whatever. Why are you going to look that up? He knows that. You never told him to go look up black though. You never told them to go look up American. You never told them where to look it up. You never told them that, well, you know, when you go look that up, make sure that you go look it up in an unabridged dictionary, because the abridged dictionaries are not going to tell you the real meaning of words. And then he never said, you know, make sure you look it up in a law dictionary, because a law dictionary has a different definition than an unabridged dictionary. Because then if he goes there, he's talking like a Moor. Which would give up because everybody knows that the Moor is always, you know, as soon as you say something, whatever, Moor is going to send you to the dictionary to go look up stuff. Immediately, that's just the pattern. Moors are going to send you to go check. Oh, yeah, you think you're black? Go look that up. Oh, you think you're white? So go look that up. See what it is. Don't go with what we say. Check it out for yourself. Right? Again, he was making another statement talking about when he was a young boy. And somebody came to their house somebody came to their house to sell, his mom a Bible. And it was a Filipino. So if he's familiar with nations and he's gonna identify Chinese man, he's gonna say Filipino, but then he's gonna come over here and tell people black and call people black all the time. Not even try to tie them to Africa even. Continue to call them black. Black, 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 black. But when he's talking about, the yellow people, he says Chinese and Filipino. That means he knows what's up. And he's refusing to talk. And if he's refusing to talk on such grand issues, then there's no need to take him serious with anything else. But people do because of the brainwash. People do because of the misrepresentation of things. People do because the information is not being told in its right context. So they lose, right? While Farrakhan fly everywhere. I mean, every time you got a new suit on and all that. Right? Got rolls? Yeah. Yeah. Farrakhan got rolls?
Sure. You got a rolls. That's got no Rolls Royce, right?
Selling out his big. Right? Trying to get people to attach to their blackness again, dealing with the Christian nation, right? Or dealing with the Asiatics subjected to Christianity. Solomon said that he's black and you're running from your blackness. Right? Now, if we say black and we say Solomon, these two don't even go together. Because Solomon is ancient and black is modern. So there's no way that Solomon said that he's black. It's an impossibility that Solomon said, I'm black. There's no way that he said that. It's impossible that he said that. Because the word black didn't exist during the time of Solomon. And I'm sure Solomon belongs to a nation and has a language. And he might have said the equivalent to this in the language that he was speaking, but he never said this. There's no way that he said that. Justice or else. Right, so justice or else. Or else what? Like what do you mean? Or else? Like where are you going with justice or else as the name of this campaign that they have? Justice or else, they're saying because God loves the black man so much. This is what he's saying now. He said that God loves the black man so much that the people who are abusing the black man better stop abusing the black man, or else God's gonna do whatever, and that's how justice is gonna come about. Now, we already said that so we are gods, and God loves the black man, and God is going to be the one to administer justice. And he's talking spooky with them, like there's something that's gonna influence. It's not happening like that. Because even if we look at God as the supreme being, loving so-called black people, he hasn't done nothing yet for these people. Oh, so he hasn't done anything, but now because of the Million Man March, where now God's gonna do something for these people. So what about all the times before that God should have did something to them? Since God loves black people so much, how come God didn't do nothing for Sandra Bland? How come God didn't do nothing for those 9 people that got shot up in that church? And they were in a church where God's supposed to be at. But God never did nothing for them. So as the play goes on, you start realizing the actors and the props and all the other stuff. And then when you realize that, oh, you're looking at a play, it's not real, you get up and walk out the theater. Because they're pushing that this thing's real for the whole time. They're pushing that black's really identity of people. But, in casual conversation, they call certain people by their nationality. But never ever these individuals that they classify as black, they never call them by their national origin. And keep in mind that Farrakhan knows because he's a Moor. He has a nationality card from the Moor Science Temple. He's a Moor. We're not saying he's a Moor from the perspective of, black and Moor, all black people are Moors or whatever. No, he's a card-carrying member that has this information and is refusing to tell people. And anybody who we say that isn't telling, they work for the establishment. Right? Another interesting thing that he brought up, just so we know that they know, and it's not a secret. He was talking about money. And he said, the money that we have, this is just paper. It's not backed by gold or silver. It's only a promissory note. So if he has that much to know that, okay, the dollar that we have is not money, right? The reason it's not money because real money is backed by gold or silver. And not only that, it's not money, but it's a promissory note, which is a term that you're only going to hear from a law perspective. You're not going to hear that commonly out here. Only if you talk to people who deal in civics, you're going to hear the term promissory note. Only if you talk to bankers, you're going to hear promissory note. You're not going to hear promissory note just out here walking on the street with people. So they're giving up how much they know, but then they're not telling, why they know so much. Right? And they leave it up to speculation. And then the last thing I want to bring up was his tying black people to Hiram Abiff. Telling them, you people are Hiram Abiff. You got hit over your head by ruffians and they buried you in a shallow grave in North America. Telling them what it is. Telling them. And keep in mind that Hiram Abiff was a Moor, or you can say builder, or you could say go unto the shepherd that feeds himself and not the flock. Leaders that give their lives for the sheep are the leaders that we should follow. That's what Farrakhan said. Leaders that give their lives for the flock are the leaders that we should follow. And as we can see, he's still around, so he didn't give up his life, so ain't no need to follow him.
What he's attaching himself to are the people that did get killed, right?
Right.
Attaching them into the movement, right?
Tie himself in. Make himself look, make himself look good. Right? Oh, another thing that he brought up. Yeah. Your nature is to submit to the will of God. You are not Jamaican, Trinidadian, Georgian, or a Mississippi man. That's not who you are. Submit your will to do the will of God. The kingdom will rise in you when you rise and submit your will to do God's will, like my Masonic brothers, my Shriner brothers, and Eastern Star sisters.
Wow. Just to say that, I was talking with my healer this morning too about part of what I think the process of the sorcery is to keep you so confused, right, that you don't have a foundation. And then they give you the foundation, and that kind of speech, what you've just broken down there right now. By the end of it, I wouldn't know whether I was
coming or going.
Right?
And remember, it's 3 hours that he was up.
And that's what I'm saying. And they also know about things about how long your attention spans are and stuff like that. And then right at the end there, he's telling his brother, and he's making, that's the quote that he's giving him. He's giving
them their props. You know what I mean? Letting people know that, hey, my Masonic brothers, my Shriner brothers, and my Eastern Star sisters, they manifest their will.
That's the last thing you're gonna
They manifest God's will. You know?
How'd they do that?
Huh?
I said, how'd they do that?
Because of the degree of knowledge that they have. Because as Masons, you automatically have more knowledge than the common people. The people who aren't in the lodge, they're considered stupid people. The people in the lodge are the ones who have the light. You know, the people in the lodge are the ones who have a degree of information higher than regular people. But then when you go into Masonry, you find out that it doesn't stop at 33 degrees. They got 90-degree Masons. So what does that mean now about the 33-degree people? If they got 90-degree Masons, then the 33-degree people, they ain't nobody.
How would you classify like your knowledge, Farrakhan, like Marcus Garvey, like I heard about like Dr. Umar and Bobby Hemmett. I don't really know about them. I mean, they might be the same Farrakhan. How would you classify them on the perspective of nature?
You know, like I look at it from the perspective of.
So I can get like a bit of understanding.
Yeah, if you have to, you can't look at others right now. You can't look at others because other individuals that claim to have knowledge don't really have what they're really supposed to have. On the other hand, is it more that they don't have it, or is it that they just choose not to talk about what they got? Right? And majority of them have the knowledge, but they're not talking about what they have. Because if they talk about what they have, then now you have it. And if you have it, then now you don't need him. So if you know, like if Farrakhan came out and said the people are Moors, right? And they have a nationality, and they have a prophet, and he's telling them certain things, right? Then he becomes unimportant. He's not needed anymore. on that level. I mean, like, he's not needed. And again, it's not because of superior information or subordinate information. It's what do you know? Once you know, then they can't tell you other than what you know. If you don't know, then, you know, you're looking to them. And when you look to them and they say black people, African, you know what I mean, civil rights or whatever, you're already sold out. They already got you in chains. Like, it's already done for you. Because the first thing they should be teaching you is your status. The first thing they should be letting you know is that you're not Negro, black, colored. Because those are slave branches. I mean, that's not a reality. You know what I mean? That's a fiction. So as soon as you hear people talking from the perspective of fiction, don't even deal with them. Right? You know, like I can show, for example, like Bobby Hemmitt, for example. I can show lectures of Bobby Hemmitt lecturing on Noble Drew Ali. Telling people that, yeah, you know, what the Moors got is it's right and exact. I can show lectures of Bobby Hemmitt opening for Moors. Right? Now, you know, Umar Johnson, I can't really show, you know, I can show him lecturing with Moors, but he's still saying black and all that. Right? I'm not talking about no science whatsoever. Bobby Hemmitt, he's at least letting you know that the Moors were the ones that brought the science to the Europeans and all that. Letting people know. So now they can make a decision on, you know, okay, well, what are you going to follow? What are you going to listen to? Because if Hemmitt's going to tell you that the Moors taught the Europeans, and you honor Hemmitt, you respect him, then, you know, why don't you go with those teachings and see where it leads? You know, but people don't. They stick with the, oh no, well, you know, black and Egyptian, ancient this and that, and whatever like that. When that's not even nothing with any weight. You know, whoever, anybody. Once they're not talking about nationality and birthrights, you don't need to pay them any attention, because they're about to throw you under the bridge. They're about to throw you under the bus. They're about to walk all over you, throw you under their cells. Right? So it's important that we study, so that when things like these come up, we're not trying to jump on the bandwagon out of some unity. Because I know there's going to be Moors at the Million Man March. I know they're going to be there.
I was there, though.
You know what I mean? And if you're going to a Million Man March that you know 20 years ago there was one, and ain't nothing changed out here, so people getting shot up and stuff like that, obviously that stuff don't work. Why are you wasting our time? Why don't we do something productive with our time? I mean, why are we still playing rallying around stuff? What are we rallying? Just rally. You're not rallying. This is birthright. This is nationality.
And noticing it's like 20 years exactly, it's like a re-energizing heart and soul energy. Ritual, yeah, doing another ritual.
No different than you know, a movie on NWA, not Public Enemy. Why them?
Yeah.
Why now?
Of all the people in hip hop or whatever, NWA, that's what you're making a movie about? You know, I never seen the movie. I don't know how good it is, bad it is, or whatever. But you know, knowing the impact that they had on influencing people to gravitate towards, you know, we'll call it gun culture. You know what I mean? Obviously, that's put out to get the minds of the people on a low vibration. Now, if we go watch the movie, and in the movie all they talk about is, you know, F the police and express yourself, and that's it. And they talk about, you know, DOC and people who were conscious that were around NWA, then they're trying to do something. But then, you know, why wouldn't they put it up from that perspective if that's what the movie's about? You know what I mean? Like, you know, as soon as you say NWA, first thing you know, niggas would add to it, guns, you know what I mean? And the whole gangster or whatever. When they weren't even no gangster rappers. They had conscious songs and stuff like that.
Especially.
You know what I mean? They weren't all gangster rappers, they had conscious songs. They were used as a tool for gangster rap, but they specifically weren't gangster rappers. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, like, the contrast now is just so wide because they present that movie as like, you got the gangsters and then like Ice Cube's a freaking comedian.
Yeah. So are we there yet?
Yeah, exactly. Children come and
Look at Ice-T.
even worse. Yeah.
He's a cop.
Yeah,
Cop, he's playing cop all day.
right? And he had Cop Killer and all that stuff. Like, you know, Cop Killer, and then now you're playing police and stuff.
That's when you know it's a movie, it's a set, like you said.
That's a setup.
It's an act.
It's an act. Just like them putting out that music was an act. Just like, you know, whatever they did. Everything that they
Whatever
did.
was real for them, anyway.
Right? So once again, just to put it out there, 29th of August, we're looking at our first Canaan Land Moors barbecue, and that's going to be over at Leslie and Eglinton Park. You know the name of it?
I don't know, it's just north of Eglinton. North of Eglinton on Leslie, and it's your first left. As soon as whether you turn left or right.
Maybe Don Mills Conservation?
Yeah, something like that. Something. But we'll get a flyer out and all that so people know. There's that, and then also September 19th and 20th at the Japanese Canadian Cultural Center, 6 Garamond Court, the 10th annual Toronto Natural Hair and Beauty Show. And we're going to be vending there. Also, we're going to be doing a class on why does racial profiling only affect black people. And we'll see how many people come out to that. But other than that, that's it. Join me on.
That's the same day as the hair show?
No. The hair show is September 19th and 20th.
So then when's the other thing you're talking about?
August, end of August, 29th. Oh yeah. It's at the hair show. At the hair show, yeah. The Sunday. Yeah, the Sunday. Just like a little class. They got workshops and stuff like that. So we got some space. I think we have an hour and a half or something like that, 2 hours. They give us a little room, and you know we'll do our thing. You had any nothing? Everything's good?
Yeah.
Anybody got questions? Any questions, comments? Anything at all? Everybody's good? Clear?
Well, don't forget to sign in.
Oh yeah, we're gonna pass the attendance book around. Make sure you put your name in there. And that's it. We'll just close out with the prayer. Close out to all the Moors online and everybody else. We'll face the east. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, Father of the universe. Father of love. Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector. My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through his holy prophet. Islam. Ashe. Hotel.